Hey friends, so welcome to Django Model Unleashed series. So as part of this series, we are discussing about the uh, Django models, right? So the next topic I want to discuss with you guys about the signals. Um, if we not following with this series, I would request you guys to take a look on all our the previous video, which is pretty much this belongs to Django models. So last video we discussed about the slugify and the slug field and overriding save method, everything we saw, right? So as part of this continuation, the next concept is signals, right? So in last video I was mentioned this save method is usually I don't recommend in a class model, because as long as this necessity really required, then go for the override save method. Otherwise we can have our signals that would pretty much do the same concept, but it doesn't um, it doesn't correlate or doesn't um, impact the class model itself. Rather, we will define a new function and then we'll have our new logic over there. And on top of that, we can have, we can basically modify the logic in the class model. So, so what is all about signals? So signals, so basically, from the name itself, you could be able to correlate the understanding of signals, right? So, we are sending by default. Django is a framework, right? So, the Django framework, whenever we create an object or when we send the request, everything is a signal, right? It is doing some kind of action on behind the scene, right? So every request or every object creation, everything in the Django you can control by the signals. That is cool about the Django. So they really frame this work in such a way, hey, whenever you want to do something, then you can have your own signals, and top of that you can play whatever the logic you want. So that is all about signals. So whenever something has been triggered, then we can initialize the signal. Then the signal should has receive something, right? So think about, if you're electronic students, you might have kind of information, right? Signals. It's a kind of transforming that. Let's take a light, right? It transforming from one place to other place, right? So when we initiate the uh, signal, right, that is how to send the signal. So we have to initialize the signal, and the destination place, there should be somebody has to receive the signal, right? So these are the concept. So one is sending, other one is this receiving. This is well enough for using the inbuilt signals, whatever we have in Django. But apart from that, we need to have a custom signals also. We're not going to cover the custom signals as part of the series, but I just want to give you overview of the custom signals. In some situation, we want to have a custom signal, right? In those situation, we the sender, it will also have as a dispatcher. Well, because the sender has to dispatch the data, right? It has to dispatch our own data for our custom signal, and of course the final the destination is nothing but receiver. So that is where the signals would come into the picture. So so what would be the cases where we have the signals? Let's think about the situation. Um, for example, you have your website, and that website you grant access to the users to upload that profile picture. Let's assume that is a situation. Now the user, he or she uploaded his picture, right? Later point of view, a later point of time, he decided to change his profile picture, right? But of course, using the Django Django media cat file cat or Amazon S3 um, storage, whatever, you store that picture, or you stored his profile picture in somewhere, or in your own server, or in Heroku, whatever it is. Forget about those stuff. But think about the situation. Now he changed his picture in front end. Now what you, of course you can overwrite the picture, right? Of course you can overwrite the picture, whatever you store in the database, or you can um, you can you can rename that picture, or you can move the old picture to the archive directory or history directory, right? um, this something you can think of having that signal as a requirement. So for example, whenever he gonna update his profile picture, what will happen? It will he will upload the picture as a in a view. The view will render the data to the models. Models will take that object and store the data, store the picture in somewhere in the server, right? This would happen whenever we call the signal. Hey, after save this, do this stuff. After his profile has been saved in the database, then do this information, or do this process, or do these steps. Or before doing, before he updated the profile picture in database or server, do this step before update the file. So these kind of requirement you can think of having the signals, right? And one more point, guys, you might think signals is an asynchronous call. No, signals is a synchronous call. So you can use signals as a asynchronous way, um, using uh, Django Celery Redis concept. But that is little advanced. But we can stick with we can think of having the signals as a synchronous mode now. As whenever the user is gonna upload his picture, I want to rename the picture with a different name before update the save file. This is a kind of valid requirement having the signals. But of course, we're not going to see that real-time situation in our example. But rather, we have our post model. We will see how we can handle using the signals. Okay, what are the various signals really available? One is model signals. So wherever you want to utilize the model, you want to if you want to trigger something before saving the object or after saving the object in the model, you can use signals. Also, signals has a Django core signals also, using request. For whenever we send the request, right? For example, if I go my admin page, this is something we are sending the request using this uh, out of the box Django core signal. We can do something. For example, whenever somebody visited our website, right, we can track that visitor information using signals. So that is also a cool concept, right? So that is the power of uh, having the signals in our all requirement in a real-time project. So I believe most of the real-time project, they should have at least one signal in place to do all this stuff. So instead of having the override save method in the class model itself. Okay, and also there's other couple of signals like user login. For example, when I log into an admin page, do something before login, or after log out, do something. We can we can pretty much play around with all other uh, framework in each individual component in the Django app itself. E- Even you can play around with a WSGI file also using the signals. I haven't tried that, but definitely we can also play using the signals. Okay, I hope as of now, whatever we discuss is a more theoretical way. We'll see in action in a couple of minutes. But before jumping to the action, right, I just want to give you a thought to give you overview of the signals itself so that you can correlate when you start learning about the signals in the model. Okay, now if you want to use signals, then we have to use the um signals model class from the DB models here, and I mean, signals also have a couple of inbuilt method like inbuilt signals like pre-initialization, post-initialization, pre-save, post-save, pre-delete, post-delete, class prepare. And I would say, guys, mostly this pre-save, post, pre-delete, post-delete. This is the most repeated signals using in many projects. Of course, in couple of projects also, this pre-initialization, post-initialization also will be there. But this pre-save, post-save, pre-delete, and post-delete, that will be the most frequently using signals. So also it has, when you send the signal, right, we have to uh, some way we have to provide the method call to the signal itself, right, that is called connect. We'll see in action, but I want to show you the document itself. Somebody, if you want to walk through the documents in later point of time, this video would help you guys to get clarity on what the document they are mentioning about the connect and all the stuff behind the scene. Okay, also if you take a look on the given pre-initialize uh, pre-init signals, and these are the couple of arguments we have to pass. So this is the um, um, sender arguments. Of course, you can pass as a .orgs and .keyword orgs, and post initialization, pre-save, post-save. And as part of the series, what we can discuss is pre-save, post-save, pre-delete, and post-delete in case of required. In case if you are interested on discussing more about other stuff like pre-installation, post-installation, just put let me know in the comment section. I will try to create a video specific for um, that requirement. Okay, now let's take see in action. So as we see, we already have our post class model in place, right? So let me delete something. I don't know. No, it seems okay. Now, think what is the requirement? So last video we saw having the override save method, right? Now let me get rid of this. I don't want to have the let's override name in my self title, but I want to stick with the Slugify. Also, I want to um, have this method, have this save method, so that we'll see the difference. What will happen? Both signal and save override method will be there. Um, is going to be any issue or not? Something like that we can see in. I'm also excited to see what will happen if I call multiple signals. Also, if you have override concept. Okay, in order to use signals, right? So what I have to do? Let's first we talk about the uh, pre-save, the one here. Excuse me, the pre-save here. So from Django.db.models dot signals import uh, pre-save. So this is where we have to import the pre-signal, and now we're going to define um, the receiver, right? Let's for a moment let's forget about the center part. We'll see. But if you see, I define the function outside of the class, not inside of the class, because that is how signal will work. You should not. So ideally, we have to create a signal file, separate file. That is the appropriate approach. But I want to stick with the model file for time being. So, but make sure if you want to use signals, you have to use the function, call the function, or have the function outside the class. So define, let's say post, um, blog post, um, pre-save receiver, and what this will take, this will take sender as an argument. Okay, let me put sender, and instance raw using update field. Of course you can explicitly pass all this argument here, but rather I can um, pass directly like this args and keyword args, and I can pass for a moment, and this is our receiver. And in order to send the signal, right, in order to send the signal and connect the receiver, what we have to do is we have to call the PreSave signal, and using connect method, um, using connect method, we have to um, call the signals. So this is the way we have to call the signal. So let me call this signal. So basically connect has to connect to that receiver. As I told earlier, right? Um, when you sending the transmission light as a electronic student, the transmission light has to know about my destination. So it's not a practical, but just think of, I should know my destination, right? So sender should has to know about the destination, otherwise the receiver. So we have to pass the sender signal, connect to the receiver, and this receiver has to pass something to the sender, right? So this sender has the argument. So so basically, I I I'm calling that signal, and I'm passing, hey, sending the signal to this receiver along with this instance. So this instance, nothing but my sender, my model. So here I want to test my model, right? So pre-save. Now let's, for a moment, let's take a look. It's pre-save. Let's um, add a print statement here, and let me do the make migration. Make migration. Doesn't require though. I'm just make sure. And what else? Migrate block and run server. Okay, now we do have our override save method. There we are assigning the self title to the slug field, and we do have our pre-save signal, and we are calling the signal using connect method, pre-save.connect method, and we are passing that receiver as well as the sender. Now let's go back to the admin page. If I try to create some new post title, something like this, and choose a category and save. If I go back to my terminal, what you're seeing, first it executed the override save method. Though we have a pre-save signal, uh, by default, it will execute override save method first, and then it will execute the pre-save method. So if we go back to your the title which created just before, new title, right? That's what we gave. This is not one. I think this one. What you're seeing, it created the Slugify field based on this method, not because we haven't have any logic in the pre-save signal. Let's try to have one logic, the same logic, the same. Let's try to have the same logic. Where is our pre-save here? Now instance is nothing but the object creation here. So it has instance.title, right? So I want to have instance.slug equal to slugify. Let's say pre-save testing. Okay. And if you see, I haven't provided instance.save because this is a pre-save. Of course, before after pre-save has been executed, one more save call will be executed automatically. That we'll see when you see pre-save versus post-save in a couple of minutes. But what I have done here is, though I already have my override save method, and I have provided my self title. So here, whatever the title I have given, it is converted into Slugify field, and here I created the static Slugify. So every title which we have created, irrespective of title, it will have this name. This is what my requirement here. And now, if I let me also have print pre-saved, something like this, so that we can see the difference which one is called. Okay. Now let's take a look. If I remove this, save and continue. Okay, this is a primary key error, so I should have to create a new one. Let's take this a testing. If I just think, guys, what will happen if I save and click on continue editing, whether this save override method will execute it first, or this has been overwritten by this save method. So if you have only this save method, then of course my slug field will be testing. But here I have a pre-save call also, right? The pre-save call, it's ideally it has to take this value and converted as a slug. Pre-save underscore testing. Should be like this, right? Let's see in action now. If I click on save and continue, what you're seeing, pre-save testing, because first it will execute the self.title and it updated this value like this in first save method. Then we have pre-save method, right? See, until the final save call has been called, nothing has been inserted or updated into database yet. So when you call this, database will not call yet. When you call pre-save, database will not call yet. On top of that, it will call the final save, inbuilt final save will happen. That will have that final call, it will update the database. So it came here and updated the testing as a Slugify field. Later, it has a pre-save signal, and it updated with this value. So that's what happened. Okay, I hope this pre-save, you guys understand the concept of having pre-save. Now, let's think about the post-save. In order to use post-save, I have to import the post-save. Post-save. And one more point, guys, I'm not doing any editing after this video. So basically, if you want, so you might feel little slowness on typing and everything. If you feel, you can play the video with a fast mode, 2x or 3x faster mode, in case if you want to see the entire video as fast. Okay, now I import the post save. So theoretically, let me explain what will happen first. If you have the post save, that post save signal will call after the entire post save happened. On top of that, the post save signal will call. So what does it mean is, let's say I have another function here, define block underscore post underscore save receiver. This time I know sender is my one of the argument. If you go and take the document here, sender instance created also is part of, but let me stick with only sender in instance, and let me pass all other arguments like this. And if I save, print post save, and in order to call what this petty save method, post save dot connect method, what else we have to call this receiver, right? Receiver, what else? The sender, of course, is example suppose. Now if I go back to the admin page, the blog post, now let's try create new post save, something like this, Django, and save and continue. It's still pre-save testing because we haven't put anything, but if you notice the terminal here, first it executed override the same method, this one, and it executed the pre-save, which is a pre-save signal, and finally it executes the post save. So basically, after that object instance has been inserted into database or updated to the database, then this post save signal will call. That is the reason this variable is there, this argument is there, basically created, which means you can validate this object has been created or not, something like that. Let's take a look. What I mean is, let's say let me add created. If the object is created, print it's created. Else, I just want to take a look, guys. That's why I'm not created. Let's see what does this variable is really doing when we call the signal, right? Um, let's go back to that post blog and click the add post. What I'll do is let me clear all the files. Post. I don't want. It seems to mess up here. So let's create blog one Django. If I do save and continue, still pre-saves testing. If you go back terminal, what you're seeing, it's created, right? So that is the default instance. Then, of course, the post save signal is creating after the save method, right? Then why this created argument is available in place? Some cases you may want to play around with different models. Then you can validate before doing any logic check, guys. That is the reason it's there. Okay, now let me try to play around with some kind of logic here. What if I add the same thing, instance.slug. Now instead of post saving, let's do pre-saving. Let's have post saving, and let me have one more print statement so that we can differentiate which instance is getting called. So let me, like pre-signal, I created the instance.select. So what I will expect is after this pre-signal is created, database has been updated with the pre-save testing. That is my select field. And then it will try to change the update value, right? That's what we'll do. But let's see what will happen. If I go back my post and add post, block 2, if I execute save and continue, I should expect some error. Let's see. No, it's not. But what you're seeing, it's still saving pre-save. Why? What's going on? It's executed override save method. It executed pre-save method. It executed post-save method. But nothing has been updated here. The reason is the post-save method is calling after the model.save method, right? So pre-save is pre-save signal is calling before model.save. So that's why that is the reason it is updating the value in the database. But this post-save signal, it's calling after the model.save. So we have to save this instance.save. If I do instance.save, what will happen? Let's see. We cannot trust anything, right? Until we see in action. So let's take block 3. And if I do Django, save and continue. Reason is after this time we are getting error because we are trying to update the existing value, right? That is the reason we are having that issue in the primary key of having the post title, right? Because duplicate entry 44 for primary key, because it was trying to update the same object, right? Instead of updating, it was trying to create the same object. So that is the issue. What you can do is Uh, go back. If I remove this, let's save and continue field is required. What we can do is we can have if not self sorry instance dot slug, which means if slug is not there, um, if slug is not there, then do this instance dot save. If let's try to, if instance slug is available, what will happen? Let's see. So basically, I want to override this pre-save method, but it's actually throwing the primary key error because I know the reason we're updating the same value. So let's take a look now. Let me block 4 and save and continue. It's still same, right? What if I do if not, because after applying the save dot method, it was trying to create the field. That's the reason it was throwing primary key error. Now if I execute, um, block 5, if I do save and continue, wow, what you're seeing, pre-save method, it not even call this post-save method, right? So ultimately, this is not a way. What we can do is let me get rid of this. Also, let me get rid of override method here, and let's take a look what will happen. Post block, add post block 6, Django, save and continue. What you're seeing, post save testing, right? It's pre-saved, post saved, and pre-saved. Okay, if you see this terminal, this time it executed 2 times pre-saved, because as soon as it executed the post signal, it came here and was saying, hey, whether slug field is available is not there, because we already commented all the slug field in the override method as well as the pre-signal method, pre-save signal method, right? So this condition has been satisfied here, and it will update the post-save testing, right? And then it will call instant.save again. So this instant.save method will call model.save method again. That is the reason it executed pre-save again, and it came back with the pre-save with the output. So I hope you guys understand the reason of if I execute this instant.save, this will call the model.save again. That model.save, what will call? It will do the pre-signal from the scratch and come back, right? If I get rid of this in outside of the loop, let's see what will happen. If I try to create the new post, then you could see the difference. Add post, block 7, and admin. What you're seeing, maximum recursion depth, because once the this condition has been satisfied to the first call, and this will update the post save, and this will come here, it will save the object, it will call model.save method, right? The model.save method, what will happen? It will call PreSave, and again it will call PostSave. PostSave also again it has instant.save method. Again it will call model.save. Again it will call PreSave. Again it will call the post signal. So it will keep on looping until this error occur. So that is the reason we are checking the validation, and once the validation is completed, then we have to put in that validation so that it will it will um, exit the loop once the condition has been satisfied. So I hope you guys have a idea of using the pre-save and post-save, right? So this is the um, one of the way we can call the signal. So is the only way we can call the signal? No, there is also one more way you can um, use, I believe, from Django dot db dot dispatch or core dot dispatch something. Let's take a look at documentation. Dispatcher. If I search for dispatch, it's a default dispatch. Yes, the Django dot dispatch. If I import Django dot dispatch import receiver, so this is the property. If you're not familiar with the concept, I would suggest to take a look on this decorator, Python functions decorator. So basically, we are going to use the decorator instead of having this to command. So I can simply call a signal like a decorator concept using receiver, and the same way I can pass the argument like this and like this. And receiver. Now I can comment this. If I refresh servlet, run the server, blog post save is I should not use this command, I believe. We should use the presave, sorry. So basically, we have to mention what is our signals itself. So this is our presave and this is our post save. Sorry about that, guys. So um, I gave a method a receiver function. Rather, I have to provide the sender signals information. So if I refresh and if I save this, it should load now. Yeah, if I go back my page and if I save block 7, it still works, right? So this is the way we can have pre-save signals and post-save signals. All the signals pretty much the same concept, same method, but we have to think of when we can implement that signals in what situation, right? That is a key area for an architect. As a developer, you have to come up with your own idea when we have to use this tool, this concept. Okay, I believe as of now you guys understand the overall stuff. If you're not, let me know. I will try to provide the other way of round to give more clarity on the stuff. And since we are in Signal, we can also talk about the um, authentication framework signals here. Go back here. Can see we can also use um, signals whenever the user is logged in, logged out. For example, let's say I logged out. Um, I believe it should be login signal. If you take a look on this user logged in signal, it's pretty much same. So what I want to do is, let's say, define user um, login receiver. Let's say I'm passing the sender. What else? We have to pass the request and user, anything. I'm just giving us no arguments and keyword arguments. And let's say you are logged in. So basically, I want to trigger this signal whenever the user logged in. In this case, we don't have any separate page. We're going to stick with the Django admin page itself for a testing purpose. Since this is a receiver, what we have to do? We have to provide the uh, signals, right? The sender. So as we are already see, we have to provide the decorator function, and this time we have to provide user logged in. It should be um, from where? From Django dot core dot auth, I believe. Contrib import user logged in. Yes. So this is the signals you have to. This is from uh, Django core auth signal. Um, then if I scroll down a little bit, I can add. This is my signal as same as PostSave here. And what is my? If you think about what is sender here, sender, since this is a user related stuff, right? By default, we are using the um, Django out of the box users model, right? So we can simply pass users model here. User, let me save this. Even I don't know guys what will happen. Let's take a look. Not core or um I think then it should be contrib Django um, contrib dot auth import user login. Let's take a look. Because it's a user logged in model, right? I believe this should be that. Yes, it's that. If I log in now, admin with my password, if I log in, if I go back to terminal, it's still um, it still didn't call this, right? What is the problem? Let me log out again. I just want to make sure. Nothing is triggering. What's the problem? It's a user logged in. Okay, sender. Let's take a look on documentation, guys. User logged in. It will take sender and user. Okay, what else? If I take a look on here, it's not a document. Ideally, it should run. User logged in. Okay, for a moment, let me remove this and let me try to use uh, direct method stems my receiver and sender equal to user. Let me stick with all the stuff arguments. And if I go back to my admin page, log out, login, it's still user logged in, right? Correct. Should I pass as a bracket or should I have need a connect? Signal should be callable, right? Yeah. Let me check my documentation, guys. Don't see that. If I see my documentation, user. Okay, I think I imported from wrong uh, module. So, so this is the confusion, guys. So, Django has many concept, right? It, it it has many models also. So we have to be very careful which model um, we are importing basically. So here I have to contrib auth dot signals. So signals import user logged in. I think it should work. Now let's see if I go back, log out and log in, admin. Still it's not doing what I was expected. Um, what could be the problem? So we do have user login and sender aux to the default argument. Um, User instance just logged in. Instance. If I provide instance, let's take a look what is there in instance. Okay, what should I expect is the instances should be my username, right? Username, what I'm was logged in. So let's see if I log in, admin, my password. Still, it's not doing the application, right? Um, whatever we maybe some other instant is calling. Let me copy this, guys, so just to make sure. Django contrib.auth. This is correct. Oh, I got it. So we have to import that user, I believe, from Django dot contrib dot auth dot models import user. So this is a default user, and this user has to pass as a instance, and let me run. So we are pretty much trying to debug all the stuff, guys. So let's see. Login, admin, the password. Okay, so user login doesn't have instance. It should have a request, and it has a user. So go back again, because user login signal doesn't have a receive doesn't have the user instance. Sorry, instance. Main my password now. What you're seeing, yeah, guys, we debugged the code. So you're logged in, right? So basically, now if I convert it as a decorator, receiver, user logged in, and sender equal to user. So you can get rid of this. You can comment this. So I have what I did is I imported the setting model user. This is something we cannot use for a signals, right? That's what happened. Um, but once I import from the contrib models user, then we are good to call the signal users, right? So this is how you can um, utilize the user logged in signal. What if user logout? It's, as you guess, the same method. User logout here, user logged out. What else? We have to import from here, right? Now if I log out, just reloading, okay, and log out, just seeing you're logged out. Super simple, right? So this is something you guys think about having the signals in the view.py. You can have this signals in a separate file, signals.py file, and you can import the signal.py file whenever the user logged in or logged out or some register their email. You can send the signal in backend task doing something else, right? So that is the concept of having the signals. And one more last concept maybe we can think of, having the post delete. So let me have um, post delete. Post delete. What else we have to do? Block post receiver post delete receiver sorry receiver is a function name, and we'll take a look what post save pre-delete. So I want to post delete. Idle should be center and instance. What else? Sender instance. Only these two. And let me pass also aux and keyword aux. And you can do whatever logic you want, but I want to show you how it looks like the function calls looks like. So B and receiver, what else? It's post, delete, right? And this calling for post model. And if I refresh, go back to my page, login. Oh, not from here. I'm doing a lot of mistake, guys, today. Post save from here, from db.model signals, and post delete now. It should work. Yes. Refresh admin page. Login. Pressing. You're logged in. That's cool. Post block. Add post. Block 10. Choose category. Admin. Rest comes default. Save and continue. Post saving testing. If I go back, what you're seeing, nothing has been triggered because the post delete will call only the deletion statement will occur or deletion call will occur. As of now, we created that statement or we created the object or we updated the object instance, right? We haven't deleted the object. If I delete this object, pre-delete, nothing has happened. If I click as I'm sure, post deleted, right? You can think of having that concept like deleting the old profile picture. Initial starting of the video, we discussed about that requirement, right? The user uploaded that new profile picture, but in our server, we want to delete the old picture and update the latest picture, right? After the update the picture, you can delete the old picture from the server. That process you can also do using the post delete signals concept. Also, we this whatever we saw is high level, guys. It has many concepts like request started, whenever we sending the request, whenever sending the request finished, migration, post migration, many things. Just play around with all this stuff. Let me know if you want to discuss on a specific topic, and in the comment section I will make the video for the topic. Okay, I hope this will really make more sense on Signals perspective. Next video we'll go and talk about the model managers and query set. We'll see you next video. Thank you, guys. Bye.